course, in churches across the country, other communities are holding Palm Sunday processions, waving their palms. But however, in global celebrations around the world on Palm Sunday, a much more intimate commemoration usually takes place. The suffering of Christ resonates with much more emphasis in some communities. For instance, this weekend, families in Jerusalem's Christian quarter will process down the Mount of Olives carrying their palm branches. In a Nigerian parish, a priest will ride a real donkey into church. And in communities in the Dominican Republic, everyone will dress up as characters in the Passion narrative. Roman soldiers will march down the streets. Many interesting stories lie behind Palm Sunday celebrations around the world. Catholics in China have trouble even getting hold of palms, so they use native plants such as sago, cypress, or sweet basil. Shanghai Catholics have to buy them in because there aren't many trees in the city, and the people are not allowed to just pick branches off the trees that remain. In the cold, dry regions north of the Yangtze River, cypress is used. Evergreen cypress is one of the few plants available in early spring when the other plants are just beginning to sprout. Different cultures, different circumstances, different commemorations, all celebrating Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem. But when it comes to the Passion, a very different tone resonates. That Passion story we heard from the Matthean evangelist today is very bleak. It starts with the betrayal by Judas, and then Jesus accurately predicts that all his disciples would desert him, even Peter. No angel comes to minister to Jesus in Gethsemane to give him strength, as happens in the Lucan evangelist's account. Jesus is spat upon, hit with fists before the Sanhedrin, scourged and mocked right up to the point of death, finally crying out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" No doubt that Passion story grips each and every one of us. It encompasses the very best and the very worst of human nature. I wonder, can we empathize with Judas, who tries to undo a terrible mistake, only finding it's too late? Should we blame the disciples for choosing sleep over prayer? Did the follower of Jesus who drew the sword and injured the high priest's servant act unreasonably? Apparently Jesus thought so. Being a man of peace, he ordered the man to put his sword away. All who take the sword will perish by the sword. And I wonder, did we notice that it was the women following Jesus who stayed with him right up to the end, even though they were kept at a distance? No doubt, elements of the story will resonate with each and every one of us for what they reflect about human nature. It, for better or worse, was the very fractured humanity that Jesus embraced. Jesus was betrayed by practically everybody, but he did not betray our humanity. And that he was able to do this is the very foundation of our ultimate hope, not only in God, but in humankind. I wonder, can we recognize elements of ourselves in that cheering crowd, yelling for a Messiah that might free them from oppression, and then turning against him? Do we recognize elements of ourselves in the disciples who ran away when Jesus was arrested? Or in the Roman soldiers given the dirty job of executing criminals? Or in the thieves who taunted a fellow sufferer? Or in the many in the crowds who simply watched? Today, when we hold and wave our palms, we recognize the better and worst mirrored in ourselves, the universal family of the people of God. By his wounds we were saved. By his wounds, each of us was healed.